Coming up on this week's show, women's basketball is dominated by NC State. More questions arise for the program.
Top 10 ranked women's lacrosse matchup tonight at Loftus. Number 1 ranked Northwestern Wildcats come to town to face your 8th ranked Fighting Irish.
That should be a good one there. And men's lacrosse kicked off their season and looks to go repeat. They've got the same pillars of their program. And all that and more starts when, Jimmy?
Right now.
Let's go. Welcome you to the second floor of the Duncan Student Center alongside my broadcast partner, Jimmy Collins. I'm Jacob Irons. We are so happy to bring you this JPW show. It's crossover season for us, Jimmy. Both winter sports and spring sports are starting to get going.
Oh yeah, we had 2 basketball games this week. We got a top 10 women's lacrosse matchup tonight. Big hockey series this weekend. Basketball game next week. Exciting times.
Exciting times indeed, but it wasn't exciting for our women's basketball team as they had some struggles against NC State in a top 25 matchup. Number 6, Wolfpack come to town, and well, that was about the mark for this Irish team. As we get going here in the first quarter, Irish playing host to NC State. 8:54 in the first, Wolfpack leading by 2. This would be one of the only shining lights for the Irish as Watson dishes down to Westbeld, who forces her way to the basket and makes the layup, tying it at 2. NC State would quickly respond, though. Zoe Brooks leans into a 3 and launches one from downtown. 5-2, Wolfpack leading. 5:51 left in the first quarter. Wolfpack dominating. Brooks drives in, taking Hidalgo to the basket and hits the no-looker to River Baldwin, who lays it off the glass. Wolfpack leading by 10. Ivey would have to burn the timeout before the media. NC State would end the quarter on a 16-6 scoring run. To the second we go. 4:09 left in the half. Wolfpack up big. Sanaya Rivers passes to Isaiah James and then fakes the shot and passes it to Baldwin, who makes another bunny. Trickery showing for the Wolfpack, who came to play. Wolfpack showing off all the stops and why they're our top 10 team this year. Irish would start to make a push, though. Down 17, Citron passes to an open Westbeld, who launches a 3, and it is all nylon. Irish cut it to 14 and are starting to build some momentum. However, NC State once again would try and apply pressure. To the second half, in the third quarter, we start rolling. Keeping the pressure only down 12, Hidalgo sees blood in the water. That is, with a post player at the top of the key. Oh boy, she's gonna do what she does best, a steal to make a basket. Defense to offense for the freshman. NC State would respond, and they would put the pedal to the metal here for the fourth quarter. Madison Hayes drives in and kicks out to the open Rivers, who gets it to go. NC State takes it from tip-off to final horn. They win 59-43 in a massive game for this ACC. Implications the rest of the way. For more, we send it over to Jimmy Collins and Tyler Reidy.
Tyler, how are you?
Doing all right. Tough one last night, but hey, glad to be here. Got a lot more sports on the docket this weekend, so we'll get it straightened out, you know.
Tough one last night for the Irish, not much offense. So my first question for you is, after a loss like that, what do you think this team's ceiling is heading into March?
Well, JJ Post and I, JJ, another one of the top analysts here at Shamrock Sports, we were having a riveting discussion after the game last night, and a lot of it revolved around, is this team's ceiling dependent on how far Hannah Hidalgo can take them as the leading scorer and best player by far, or is it more dependent on how far the players not named Hannah Hidalgo can take them? Because Notre Dame, it's been evident in a couple of these ACC losses this year, they don't have the scoring consistently to build around Hannah Hidalgo and help her out. We saw it at Syracuse, saw it at Louisville. Hannah drops 30 points, and nobody else really steps up. I think no one scored more than 9 points in that Louisville loss last Thursday night. So that continues to be an issue. But then you have games like last night where Hannah only drops 10 points, 4 for 19 from the floor, and when she's not in sync at all, you end up with your least amount of points at home in 20 years. So I think the ceiling is more dependent on the players around her. I do think Hannah Hidalgo herself will be able to lead Notre Dame a lot more when we get into the postseason, but especially in these ACC games down the stretch. If you want to position yourself well for the postseason, you're going to need a lot more from players like Maddie Westbeld, Sonia Citron, Kylie Watson.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think Hannah Hidalgo, obviously elite. But my next question for you is, when the offense isn't going well and Hannah Hidalgo is not playing great, similar to last night, what do you think is the best thing that the Irish can focus on to generate more offense heading into March, where these games are must win?
Yeah, well, the one thing we know about this team, first of all, is that they can shoot the three ball. They're one of the best in the ACC in terms of firing away from beyond the three-point line. But that's disappeared a little bit in these last couple ACC losses. I think they only made 2 at Louisville last week and struggled mightily last week just overall, not just from deep, but overall offensively shooting-wise against NC State, ended up with 43 points. But Sonia Citron's traditionally a great shooter. Maddie Westbeld, especially early last night, showed an ability to light it up from downtown, and that's what Notre Dame is going to need at times to overcome some of the scoring woes. And I also think Notre Dame needs to do a little bit of a better job, especially in these scrappy ACC games, of playing to their age. I mean, Notre Dame generally is a pretty experienced, mature team. Sonia Citron's been here a while. Kylie Watson, Maddie Westbeld have been playing competitive ACC basketball for the last few years, but Notre Dame's been locked into too many of these early first quarters where both teams just turning it over at will. And the turnovers aren't as glaring an issue when both teams are doing it, as was the case early last night, but eventually Notre Dame just has to lock in and say, hey, we've been here before, we're experienced, and we didn't pull a bunch of players from the portal. We've got people that have been here for a while and know what they're doing. Got to show it, though, in the first quarter and be more mature.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is also a Notre Dame team that has sort of struggled against these top teams in the ACC, not really playing up to their opponents at all, kind of dominating the worst teams and struggling against the top teams. And it's disappointing heading into March, where you want to see a team that this is a good basketball team with good players, and it's disappointing seeing them struggle against these top teams.
Yeah, well, the good thing is Notre Dame has a few more chances to prove themselves at the end of this regular season. You have a tough trip to Duke coming up Monday night. That'll be a challenge at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Virginia Tech and Louisville head to South Bend back-to-back to close out February and lead us into March to wrap up the regular season. Those are two teams vying for top spots in the ACC. And though a conference regular season championship, which is what we saw last year, may be out of the picture for Notre Dame at this point, barring something miraculous, those wins, especially going into the conference tournament, if you can get hot, beat a Virginia Tech, beat a Louisville, beat a Duke this time around, that's a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Disappointing night last night, but plenty of opportunities in the future. And we got more coming up on women's lacrosse with Jacob Irons and JJ Post. But first, we got more from NDTV.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to ND Sunrise.
This is the
review of the Keenan Review.
That's right, we've got a big game in Sin City.
Plot twist, I am the Grim Reaper.
Overall, this year's event was a rousing success.
Would Notre Dame be the first one to accept ASL as a foreign language as a department?
Once again, I'm Elena Morgan from ND Sunrise, signing off.
Welcome in our big lacrosse knower in JJ Post. I'm Jacob Irons. Yeah, well, no one really knows.
Comparatively.
And comparatively, we got our best here for women's lacrosse as they have a top 10 matchup as they play host to the #1 ranked Northwestern Wildcats. This is a big game in the women's lacrosse landscape. And a name that everyone's going to be looking at in this game is Izzy Skane, the reigning Tewaaraton winner. She had 10 goals last time. What can she do now that she's back for the Irish?
I mean, you can't say enough good things about Izzy Skane, in all honesty. I mean, 21 career goals in just 4 games against Notre Dame. Granted, 10 of those came in 1 game, but the fact that there was a 10-goal game in the first place, pretty damning in and of itself. You know, this is a player that makes everyone around her better. She scored 99 goals last year. Let's lead with that. But she's not just someone that gets goals for the sake of goals. She doesn't just stat pad. She doesn't just add goals as a player on a team. She's a player that helps make the players around her better than the sum of their parts. She's a player that will dish out assists. She draws attention. So even if Notre Dame does try to man mark her out of the game, Notre Dame plays a zone defense, so I don't think that's how they'll do it. But even if they do say, we're just going to go all in on committing to stopping Izzy Zane, that's not going to work because Zane finds a way to influence games even when she's not putting the ball in the net herself. She's really just a player that can do a ton behind the cage. She can do a ton in creation. And then obviously 99 goals last year. Yeah. She's a player that can score the ball as well. There's not really an obvious blueprint to stopping her. Syracuse, for example, did a pretty good job, at least comparatively, of like trying to keep her in their sight. You're only going to stop her for so long, but they contained her, I think, as well as you could contain her in Northwestern's opener. And Erin Kuykendall scored 4 goals as Northwestern won their opener. So again, the impact she has in the game is more than just goals. If you take her out of the game, she'll find ways to make her teammates better. And if you let her run, she's going to score you for 10 like she did last time against Notre Dame.
Yeah, they ultimately win their with a top 25 matchup in their season opener against Syracuse 18-14 after a late surgence from the Orange. But now you talk about Northwestern's offense. Let's talk about Irish's offense. They got the big three. They got Casey Choma, they have Jackie Wolak, and they have Madison Ahern, easily maybe the best 3 combo in all of women's lacrosse coming back, and they're going to provide a spark for this team.
Absolutely. Choma, Ahern, and Wolak is going to be Notre Dame's offense. There's going to be some contributors here and there. Arden Tierney's a name to watch in that mix. But by and large, it's going to be these 3. You see there 6, 5, and 7 over the last weekend. Jackie Wolak. Wolak coming off a season which she became the 3rd player in program history to have over 100 points in a season. This is the big 3 for Notre Dame. If Notre Dame is going to beat Northwestern, they're going to need big-time production out of those 3 players. They're the ones that have been here for the longest. That's 2 graduate students and a senior, or maybe 3 graduate students altogether. I forget what the eligibility is. Yeah. But these are players that have been around the block. They know what it's like to play in games of the caliber of Northwestern. They know what it means for Notre Dame to beat a team like Northwestern. They were around when Notre Dame registered the win over Northwestern in 2020, what could have been perhaps Notre Dame's greatest ever year as a program before the pandemic shut down the season. They know what it would mean to get this win over Northwestern. They know what it could mean for the season, what it would mean for national perception of Notre Dame. And in their final year of Notre Dame lacrosse, they're not here to leave anything out there on the field. They know this could be their last chance to get a win over #1 team. This could be their last chance to make their mark on Irish program history. Again, the stats are what's going to matter. These are 3 players that can score. They will score, and we'll see if they can score enough to stop a high-powered Northwestern offense. But ultimately, I think the biggest factor for them is they've been here before. They know what it takes, and they know what it means to leave everything out there, given their eligibility and experience. Yeah, they've got a lot of eligibility and experience. The big 3 were freshmen when they last beat Northwestern here in Loftus, something that Coach Chris Halfpenny talked about. I want to bring up one more in Anya Massacre. Really the heartbeat of this defense for the women's lax team. What does she have to do with Izzy Skane, you think, with Lily Callahan? I think, honestly, the biggest thing is Notre Dame needs to stay disciplined. Like we talked about earlier, there's not really a set blueprint for stopping Izzy Skane. They're not going to hold her to 0 goals. That's just, barring a very unforeseen event, that's not going to happen. And they're not going to just let her do whatever she wants because then she'll score 10. I think Notre Dame needs to admit that, I think commit to being Notre Dame. Don't try to contort your defense or change how you do things to try to stop Izzy Skane. They are a zone team now. Coach Halfpenny has talked about over the last year, they think they've gotten more comfortable in that zone defense. Olivia Dooley, transfer from USC, has helped shore up that zone defense because she knows the system. Defense coordinator is working hard on that. I think they need to stay committed to their principles and hope that that is enough to stop him, not try to change the entire system to make a stop. Yeah. One person not changing the entire system is Micah Shrewsbury. He's found a way to get 2 wins together. Jimmy Collins, is something brewing in Purcell?
Friend, Trey Cotey. Talking some Notre Dame men's basketball. First question I have for you is, what went right?
Well, I think that the first thing that needs to be said here, a 58-55 game with the Irish coming out on top. I mean, this was an ugly game of basketball.
This was not a fun watch. I mean, turnovers, missed shots. You see the Irish shot about 19% from the 3-point line. It really just did not go well. But what happened with this Irish team is that they managed to find a way to win. Even in a tough game like this, they somehow find a way to win. Jimmy, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, they haven't found many of those opportunities this season. It's often been they've been hanging in games for a while, and kind of towards the end of the game, they kind of crumble and they lose tight ones. And on Wednesday, they were able to get a big win, which I think will build some confidence going into the future.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at this team, this is a team that lost a bunch of games earlier, close ones specifically. You look at NC State, where we lost on a last-second shot. You look at both of the Boston College games, where we had a lead and an opportunity to win and choked it away. You look at even a game like a Miami or a Florida State, both home games where we had a lead deep into the game and then just choked it away. But one thing that's been consistent is Marcus Burton, and you're seeing some of the highlights right now. He had 18 in this game, a game high, coming off of his second ACC Rookie of the Week award last week, which included that win against Virginia Tech. He had 16 and 8 in that game. And then the other storyline from this game was Tay Davis. Dropped 17, his second most on the season. The thing is, those were really the only two guys. And now let's look at some defensive stats here. And really the only way that Georgia Tech was getting to the basket was what you're seeing right here. They would set a screen, get the ball in the middle of the court, and then get a backdoor cut action for either a layup, an and one, or a dunk. You saw it time and time again, and that was really the only way that they were scoring. They had 28 points in the paint compared to our 20. But besides that, the Irish played gritty defense. They played really, really well, forced the poor shooting percentage from Georgia Tech, and like I was saying, found a way to win. And that is just, it's really enlightening and optimistic to see. It makes me excited for where this team can go in the future.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a team that is one of the top defenses in the ACC all year, and it's given them chances to win games. And obviously, we're young, kind of inexperienced, and we haven't taken much from those opportunities. But 2 wins in a row, it's a win streak. And we've got a big game coming up next week against Louisville for a chance to have our first 3-game win streak on the season.
I don't want to put this out there too early, but you can see the culture starting to change. You can see it changing. Like 2-game win streak, our second 2-game win streak on the season, the only other one being Marist and then Virginia back-to-back. And there's like a week and a half break there, so I don't even know if I count that. But this team's turning it on at the right time. And when I talked to Coach Micah Shrewsbury a few weeks ago, he was saying how this month of February is big for this team in terms of culture and bringing it together. You're really starting to see that going against an opponent in Louisville who's ranked 14th in the ACC right now, below us. That's hard to do. It's an opportunity to get a win, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what Coach Shrewsbury and the boys can put on the table on Wednesday night.
Yeah, we got a big opportunity ahead next Wednesday, but we're going to kick it back to Jacob Irons at the desk to give us some news on Notre Dame football.
Thanks, Jimmy. Well, you talk about big games. Nothing bigger than the game that was announced this week. Notre Dame's 2024 football schedule is at long last officially set after a great deal of speculation. The Irish finally confirmed that they would be taking on Army at Yankee Stadium on November 23rd. The Shamrock Series matchup comes with a good deal of historical significance. It'll mark the 100th anniversary of Notre Dame's upset of Army at New York's Polo Ground. The 13-7 Irish win was immortalized by Gartland Rice's iconic game coverage, who likened Notre Dame's quartet of Henry Studemeyer, Don Miller, Jim Crowley, and Elmer Layden to the biblical 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. A great deal has changed in college football landscape with regard to the Irish and the Black Knights since a century prior. Notre Dame, led by their 4 horsemen, would go on to collect the national title in 1924, the first of 11 consensus national titles claimed by the university over the ensuing century. Army would continue to be one of the sport's premier powers over the first half of the 20th century, but slowly faded for prominence as college football grew and evolved. Jeff Molken has stabilized one of modern football's hardest jobs. However, posting just 1 losing campaign over the last 8 seasons, Notre Dame has visited Yankee Stadium for previous Shamrock Series outings, including a 27-3 win over Army in 2010, a 36-3 triumph against Syracuse in 2018, and the Irish will look to make a 3rd consecutive Shamrock Series win in the Bronx come November, with the matchup preceding what should be a marquee showdown with USC in Los Angeles, as well as a big opener with Texas A&M in August. That should be a great schedule as the schedule finally rounds out. Only 3 traditional road games for this Irish team, but one team that has a home game this weekend is hockey as they take on the Golden Gophers from Minnesota. Our own Kian Bagenstos has more.
Lacrosse booming means that the ice at Compton Family Ice Arena is melting. This weekend, Notre Dame hockey will have its final home series of the year against the number 8 Minnesota Golden Gophers. Coming into this game, Minnesota definitely will be the favorite. The Golden Gophers have a dominant 18-7-5 record and an 11-5-4-1 conference record. They have dominated at home with an 11-4-1 record, but have struggled on the road with a 6-3-4 record. Now on to Jeff Jackson's underdogs. They have been a rather pedestrian 14-14-2 this year, with a losing 8-10-2 record in the conference. They, however, have dominated in Compton with a 12-7 record, but have struggled mightily with a 2-7-2 road record. Let's compare how the two teams did against each other and against other teams in the Big Ten. Against each other, in Minnesota, Notre Dame won Game 1 4-2, but lost Game 2 4-1. Number 4, Wisconsin, ND went 0-4. Minnesota went 1-3. Against number 14, Michigan, Minnesota went 1-1. Notre Dame went 1-1. Against number 6, Michigan State, Notre Dame went 1-1. Michigan went 2-2. Against Ohio State, Minnesota went 3-1. ND went 3-1. They both went 3-1 against Penn State. So overall, these teams have been very even in terms of conference play. Let's look at some offense. Notre Dame has had 2.83 goals per game, 33 shots per game, 17.8% power play percentage, and 4.73 penalties per game. Leading scorers, Lance Slaggert, 17 goals, 10 assists, 27 points. Dane Nelson, 7 goals, 12 assists, 19 points. Ryan Sedem, 3 goals, 14 assists, 17 points. Minnesota's at 3.5 goals per game, 34 shots per game, 23.9% power play percentage, 2.8 penalties per game. Jimmy Schnuggernod, 18 goals, 30 points. Rhett Pitlick, 17 goals, 15 assists, 32 points. Bryce Brodzinski, 13 goals, 15 assists, 28 points. In terms of defense and goaltending, Notre Dame's Ryan Bishop's had 2.46 goals against average, 0.97% save percentage, 2.63 goals allowed per game for Notre Dame, 34 shots allowed per game, 83.2% penalty kill. Minnesota is significantly better on offense in terms of team production and talent, both on a power play and even strength. Our best player's point total will be 5th best in Minnesota, and Slaggert's goal total would be 3rd best on Minnesota. Minnesota's also a lot more disciplined and knows how to stay out of the box. However, when Minnesota gets into the box, they tend to struggle, which ND will have to utilize. Minnesota's been a lot more sturdy on the fence as they allow 4 less shots per game compared to ND. ND's inability to backcheck efficiently and clear out of the zone has caused Ryan Bishop, a player who is a semifinalist for the best goal in the nation, to have his numbers deflated to 2.5 goals against average and well below Minnesota's goalies' goals against average. Keys to the game for ND. Stay out of the box. Minnesota's power play is absolutely lethal, and when given an opportunity, they can give immense amounts of momentum to their team and tilt the ice against ND and take them out of the game. Then clear the puck when Minnesota is in the offensive zone. ND should not focus on trying to poke the puck away or have excellent back checking. Just get the puck and clear it. If you let Minnesota stay in the zone, they can pepper Bishop and get goals. Use those secret weapons. Since Slaggert is by far Notre Dame's top scorer, Minnesota will be smothering him in hopes of taking ND's offense out of the game. This is a big opportunity for all players like the Janicki brothers, Cole Kunable, or Landon's brother Carter, who will be under Minnesota's radar, to step up and take charge of the number 1 role. For an overall prediction, on paper, Minnesota is head and shoulders better than Notre Dame in terms of offense, defense, and special teams. However, both teams have performed equally against each other despite this difference in talent and other teams in the conference. However, Minnesota has 2 different teams. The team that dominates at home and slides on the road. Minnesota's off-the-chart stats are mostly due to their dominance at home and not on the road. Also, one of Notre Dame's only road wins of the season was against Minnesota, a testament to their potential and how good they can be when they are on their game. Since this game is in Compton Family Ice Arena, an extremely loud environment, which ND has excelled in, I feel that ND will come out hot and Minnesota will sleepwalk out of the gates and get plastered on Friday or today, but then come out and win on Saturday, since ND has not been able to get any sweeps against ranked teams in a long time. So the Irish will have a split and still be in the tournament hunt heading into Ann Arbor. With that, that is all for hockey. Back to you guys in the studio.
So much, Kian. Appreciate all the coverage from the frozen water for this Irish team. And then we got a big team this year, and that's our men's lacrosse team. They won a national championship in Philly, and they returned back a lot of the pillars here, and they look to turn on 2 brothers in the Kavanaughs who were absolutely electrifying last year and have already brought it this year.
Yeah, I mean, this is a Notre Dame lacrosse team that brings back as much as you could want. You know, Chris Kavanaugh, Pat Kavanaugh, they're dynamic. It's really fascinating to watch because Chris, much more of the scorer. He creates goals. He finishes off goals where Pat kind of creates them. You can see they don't really, the dynamic between them, the passing, the ability to create chances for each other is really fun to watch. And they're not the only pieces of this Irish team. That's the most exciting part. They've got two of the most impressive players in the ACC on the attack line, and they're not just the entire attack.
No.
They're pieces to an entire attack that keeps on producing well. And we're going to, let me get a shout out, Wally, before I forget to Liam Entenmann in goal, one of the best in the business. They've got him back for a 5th year. The talent on this team is just off the charts.
It's off the charts in any way you look at it. But we said we weren't going to talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it because I think it's necessary. Jordan Faison, who had a great year for the football team as a scholarship receiver, scores the opening goal of this season and hits a hat trick. Jordan Faison's the real deal.
Yeah, I mean, in case you didn't read about it in any of the other 28 outlets that covered this story, Jordan Faison is also good at lacrosse, in addition to being very good at football. Hat-trick first game, first goal of the season, 40 seconds in. But I'm going to pivot again. Because, again, we've talked about Jordan Faison enough, but let's talk about Eric Dobson a little bit.
Yes.
Not the only great midfielder is Jordan Faison. No. Eric Dobson, one of perhaps the best midfielders in the country. I'd say one of, maybe even the best, period. 34 goals, 11 assists last year, and his production might only improve this year as Notre Dame brings back so much talent. Jake Taylor, another player I want to give a shout out to. You know, 5 goals in that opening game. It's Cleveland State, granted, so you know you never want to take too much away from a game in which the team's just running away from it. But I think Jake Taylor could be primed for a really, really big year as another weapon in that Notre Dame attack.
Jake Taylor, preseason All-ACC, as well with Dobson, preseason USA Lacrosse midfielder of the year. But now, this is a team that we talked about. They have what Kevin Corrigan calls the back-to-back. He has that. They have the potential. What do you see happens?
Yeah, there's a mentality element to it, and Corrigan's kind of talked about this. The difference between being the hunter and being the hunted is very different. Notre Dame entered with a chip on their shoulder in 2022. They had never, 2023 rather, they had never won a national title. Now they have it. Now everyone wants them. They're the consensus number one. They're the team that everyone wants to knock off. Last year, Notre Dame was kind of, I wouldn't say they were underdogs many years, but they were the team that had never won one. They've got one now, and everyone knows who they are, what their strengths are, what their potential weaknesses are, and everyone wants to beat them. There is a mentality shift that will need to occur, and I think from what we have seen from Kevin Corrigan over his time at Notre Dame is we can trust that that shift will occur, that the team needs to, you know, take a new position on how they approach these games, how they approach preparing, how they understand what the opponent thinks of them. And this is a team that brings back a lot. I think their experience will be a big boost, especially in a very, very deep ACC. Can't really talk enough about how the ACC challenges this Irish team. I don't think they go undefeated just because that ACC is deep. You know, they'll play Virginia on the road. They'll play Duke on the road. And no one tell Michigan's head coach this. The ACC is the best lacrosse conference in the country. And Notre Dame, you see here, they go to Syracuse, or they play Syracuse at home, I believe, but they're going to go to Duke, they're going to go to Virginia, and then they got Maryland out of conference. That is, for those of you keeping score at home, Notre Dame's number one. That is every other team in the top 5 on this Notre Dame schedule, and it's not a long schedule. No, this is like 1/3 of their entire schedule that they will be playing against top 5 teams. I don't know if they're going to go undefeated, but I do think all these top-tier games, especially the ones on the road in tough environments, is going to make this team stronger come May. Because remember last year against Virginia, Notre Dame lost to Virginia at home. It was a loss that Notre Dame, I don't think, was maybe expecting, because they had momentum going into the game. It felt like this was the time they were going to knock off Virginia. It wasn't the time. But when they played Virginia in the national semifinal, a couple months later, Notre Dame did have that extra energy. They had that extra spark. They had been there before. So you're not going to win every one of these tough games. I think that's a fact of the matter. It's just how it is playing in a very deep ACC. But once you hit the national tournament, those are the games where you have to dig deep, where sometimes you have to face a lot of adversity, where it's only going to benefit you. And I think we saw it last year when Notre Dame lost to Virginia in the regular season. It was a game that Notre Dame thought they could make a statement home. They didn't win. But then when they played Virginia in the national semifinal, when with trip to the national title game on the line, they exercised their demons, they got the win, and eventually they went on to win the Natty.
Exactly. They have Grace Hall lit up as number 1 all the way till Memorial Day weekend. It should be an interesting season for this program. We also got some interesting trivia coming up. Jake Miller wrote the questions. We'll do some junior trivia on the other side. This is Shamrock Sports on NDTV.
Hi Irish, my name is Elisa Honey and I'm the NDTV Director of Operations. If you'd like to support NDTV, make sure to click on the link on the screen or in our description. It's an Amazon link, will take you straight to the site, and any purchase you make through that link, we receive a small portion of the revenue. This is a great way to support NDTV and get all those things you need for the perfect Notre Dame tailgate. I'm talking, mugs and flags and hats and all the merch that you need. So make sure to click on that link and support NDTV. We're here for all of you. Thank you.
And we welcome you back to the second floor. We bring in our fellow class of 2025 member, Shannon Lipscomb. We're going to play a little trivia. Jake Miller wrote the questions, so that I have to precede that because they are tough normally.
They're pretty tough.
Yeah, I don't know. All yours, Miss Lipscomb, because
right.
I'm not sure in this.
All right, we thought we'd bring in some trivia for some junior parents weekend fun. We got 5 questions and a possible tiebreaker if we need it, but these are all about Notre Dame sports. So
Let's go.
I'll give you guys the multiple choice answers, and then you will write it down on your black little boards there.
Sweet.
All right, ready for number 1?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Notre Dame has had 7 players win a Heisman Trophy. Of those 7, how many have won it their junior year?
Oh, God. What are our questions?
We've got A is 0,
Okay.
B is 2, and C is 3.
Oh. Okay.
Give you guys a few seconds.
I'll take my chance. Oh no.
What's this for?
All right, you got answers?
Yep.
All right, flip them over.
B.
B.
Unfortunately, the answer was A. There was 0.
Well, all right.
They all won them their senior year.
Trick question. Trick question.
Just
okay.
getting everybody
all right.
started here. All right, let's go to number 2. So the phrase "win one for the Gipper" was later used as a political slogan by Ronald Reagan, who in 1940 portrayed George Gipp in Newt Rockne All-American, and was often referred to as the Gipper. What happened after Gipp's junior season? So this is a tough one. We have 5 multiple choice answers here. Did he A, receive a full scholarship, B, get elevated to scout team quarterback, C, get accepted to the seminary, D, all of the above, or E, none of the above?
These are B. Levy's questions. Come on. Like there's an all of the above and none of the above? Oh.
This is tough. This is real. We're out here.
Jimmy, how are you feeling?
That's the record.
Because I have no idea here. Not great either.
This is history, sports.
I'll take the B. Levy. I'll take the B. Levy approach. Go D, all of the above.
All right, what have you got, Jimmy?
I'll take that.
I'm gonna guess all of the above.
Oh.
Okay. Unfortunately, it was E, none of the
No.
above.
Okay. This really is like a B.
Had
Levy
some
exam.
sad news. Unfortunately, Gipp died several weeks after finishing his junior All-American season.
Damn.
But let's move on. We got a lot of questions left. It's all right, you guys.
This is tough.
All right, ready?
Not good.
So in real life, Rudy Rudiger transferred to Notre Dame during his junior year, joining the scout team. However, he had another more meaningful accomplishment during his junior year. What was that accomplishment? Did he A, record a meaningful tackle in practice, B, have success in Bengal bouts, C, meet his future wife, or D, get signed on with a real estate agency for a job?
We gotta wait for them to answer.
Give me B.
Let's see.
B?
What you got?
A.
It was B.
Let's
he
go!
had success in Bengal bouts, went to the title
bouts.
round, and his senior year, he actually won
it was a pure guess, bud. That was a pure guess.
All right. Jake's up 1.
Okay, stop.
Jimmy has nothing.
T-Reed.
We got 2 questions left.
I'm waiting for the 2-point question.
Okay. All right, number 4. Marcus Freeman is not only the name of our current head coach of the Notre Dame football team, but a different Marcus Freeman actually played here at Notre Dame from 2002 to 2006, who first got on the field during his junior year. What position did he play? A, offensive line, B, fullback, C, wide receiver, or D, tight end?
I'm pretty sure it was.
Okay.
I want to say.
You know what? For the sake of it, let's ride the high hand. Give me B.
All right.
Give me B.
I went C.
Unfortunately, the answer was D. He was a tight end.
Okay. You got it. No, you didn't. All right.
It was from last year. I was trying to remember what.
All right.
All right, so we're here at question number 5. This one is worth 2 points. A little bit of a tougher one. We got to rank all of the names in order. This could be big. Jimmy could come back and take it here.
Oh, gosh.
So the question is, we need you to rank the following Notre Dame players in points per game scored during their junior year, starting with most, ending with least.
I mean,
we have 2 current players in J.R. Knesny and Sonia Citron, and we've got Skylar Diggins, who played here their junior year, 2011 to 2012, and Jerry and Grant, 2012 to 2013.
Okay. So let me go.
yeah.
Think about junior year. Think about what kind of numbers they're generating there. We got 2 former players.
All right.
And we need them in the right order to get the 2 points here.
We can't get partial?
No.
I don't think there's partial here.
Damn, this really is a B. Levy exam. All right, 2.
No partial.
3, 4,
3.
1.
That's current? No, she missed a couple games. Oh, okay.
We've got a lot of writing going on.
All right.
This is big.
This is my
Don't
gut.
tell me yours yet.
Okay. You're still going?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who are the last 2? Diggins?
It's
Grant.
Citron or JR?
Citron and JR. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, you're current. Wow. Okay. Well, this is tough. All right. I got one.
All right.
We ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, I'm going to read it off.
Oh, okay.
In order of most to least, we've got Diggins,
Yes.
Citron, Grant, and JR.
We're 2 for 4. That's partial credit, hopefully, if we were giving it. Oh, you got the first one? Well,
All right, well, nonetheless, Jake Irons is our JPW trivia winner
let's go.
with 1 point.
1 point.
We got
1 point.
point.
Let's go.
There you go.
JPW. I think it is. We didn't have a winner last year. We had 0, so that's pretty good. I'll take that. I'll take that. 1. I got 1 right.
There we
There's
go.
Bengal bounce. Can't really.
What was the bonus question?
Yeah, hold on. Can we do?
You want to do the tiebreaker?
Yeah.
No, do we have time? No, we do
We'll
not have time.
We'll do it later.
We'll do it later. We'll do it
do it
off air.
later.
All right. That wraps up this JPW show, even with the lack of Notre Dame knowledge. For everybody involved in this program, we can't thank you enough. To our parents who are here supporting us, give a big thanks to them. From the second floor of the Duncan Student Center, this is Shamrock Sports saying so long.